On behalf of Guru KPU, I, Gajendra Sharma, working as an assistant professor in Biyani Institute of Science and Management, welcome you in this session. And the topic of discussion is why large and complex software application is very challenging. See, developing large and complex application is most of the time very challenging because it involves a few points that we would discuss here in this discussion. So the first is cost, effort intensive. See, large and complex software application is most of the time effort intensive because it requires a lot of efforts, and all the efforts have to be well organized systematically. Right? So various tasks are identified and the tasks are assigned to different candidates so that the candidates can work upon the tasks which are assigned to them very efficiently, and the whole process can be carried out very efficiently, right? So this is the factor that comes into scenario where large and complex software application is developed, right? So this has to be taken into account, and all the tasks have to be identified, and they should be distributed according to the specialization and the capabilities of the candidate. See, high cost is involved. So in developing large and complex software application, high cost is involved. So it has to be taken into account, because if the software application does not become successful, the entire investment goes waste. Right? Long development time is involved in developing large and complex software application. Right? So what happens here is a long development time is involved in developing large and complex software application. So what happens here is that when long time is involved, customer does not come to know what is happening in the project, and he is not well aware of what the engineers are working upon. Right? So we have to identify what has to be delivered to the client frequently, so that client comes to know that this is what is happening in the project and this is what our engineers have worked upon or our engineers have developed. Right? This is to ensure that the customer does not shout, the customer keeps patience. Right? So where long development time is involved, see, we have to identify every time we work on different modules, we have to identify what has to be delivered to the client, so that the client keeps patience and does not shout. Right? The next point is changing needs of the user. So we have to take into account the changing requirements of the user, and the whole application should be implemented in the way that changes which are suggested by the client and or user can be reflected or implemented very easily. Right? So standard approach should be followed while working upon large and complex software applications. High risk of failure due to performance and maintainability. See, where we are developing large and complex software application, there may be risk, and there may be risk due to the performance. Suppose we have already distributed the tasks among the candidates based on the specialization and capabilities of the candidate, but when candidates have worked upon all the modules and all the modules are to be integrated collectively in a application, or when all the modules are to be integrated in a particular application or in the particular module, right? There may be a particular component who might degrade the performance, and the whole software does not stand up to the performance parameters of the softwares, right? So this is where, and if the whole application does not meet the performance criteria, or if it is very slow, right, the client does not accept the solution. Right? So these are the points that we have discussed, which we have discussed should be taken into account, should be considered while working upon large and complex softwares. Thank you For further details, please log on to our website www.gurukpu.com.